decide if you actually want help and decide what you're willing to do to get it. Because a lot of people say, oh, I want to be healthy again. I wish I had this. I wish I had this much money. I wish I had this much time. I wish I had this much freedom. I wish I wasn't sick anymore. Decide what you're willing to do to get that, because that's going to make all the difference. The difference between people who get what they want and people who just keep searching the internet for answers or reading books and looking and looking and looking for the rest of their lives are the ones who decide. Well, my name's Amelia South. I am a professional foraging instructor and an herbalist. I also know a lot about subconscious reprogramming and healing yourself in many different ways. I do a lot of nutrition and gut health stuff. I've got a giant wall of certifications. I do forest bathing. I hike barefoot because I'm weird like that. I love it. And I talk with trees. I teach people how to communicate with trees. So there's a lot of different things that I do and that I know about. I've got I've got a book out right now, my book, Think Like an Herbalist. And I've got a couple of other little books out. I've got another one that's almost done. I've got a cookbook coming out soon. There's a lot of stuff going on with me.
Yeah, no, there is. So I'm curious, the hiking barefoot, is that like for grounding?
Yes, it's for grounding, but if you've never tried it before, you should try it sometime, because like when I first started doing it, first off, I picked a spot to start that I knew was going to be safe, because I'm sure that it's the same everywhere you go. There's some spots, like there's some hiking places where people are just assholes and they litter everywhere. You don't want to step on a glass bottle or anything, you know? So I chose a spot that I knew was going to be very clean and safe and well taken care of. And it was amazing. I noticed when I started, like within the first few weeks of starting to hike barefoot, that you have to be a little bit more mindful of where you're placing your foot, so that you don't step on a thorn or, kick a root or a rock, which I've done all of those things, and it sucks when you stop paying attention. And because you're being a little bit more mindful of like how you pick your foot up and place it down, it's just a split second decision, but it makes you move just a tiniest bit more slowly. So you're also number one, paying more attention to your surroundings and getting more out of your experience being in the forest. But number two, you're actually getting more exercise. Like I noticed that the difference between hiking with boots on and hiking barefoot, there were different muscles in my legs getting worked out because I was having to pay attention to how I pick up and put my feet down.
Right. Well, I mean, that's like, even with, so if I'm working out legs, if I do some kind of squat, like Bulgarian squats, I'll take my shoes off, because that, it's like that continuous connection with your foot in the floor. First of all, it's safer, because I wear running shoes most of the time. And there's a lot of padding. And so there's not a lot of stability there if you're lifting heavy weights or anything. But, I would imagine the same is true with like hiking boots or whatever, or running shoes.
It is. Yeah. And I actually bought barefoot hiking boots too.
Okay.
So I have like 3 pairs of Zero shoes, because they're like a flat bottom. So it puts something between your foot and the ground. So like you can go hiking in the wintertime, because I am very brave, but I'm not brave enough to go hiking barefoot on ice and stuff, I have a cold limit. And it's shoe season right now.
Man, the whole thing, the whole like idea of shoes are like interesting. I don't know if you listen to Joe Rogan or not. So Joe Rogan, a while back, he was talking to somebody, and they were talking about like in the South, how the typical Southern accent would be like slower, like more like whatever. But that actually originated from people not wearing shoes, because long story short, so whenever it was, I think it was like the late 1800s or something, there was a bacteria that would get in people's feet through not having shoes, and it caused like, one of the symptoms was like brain fog and stuff like that. And it was in like the southern region where that happened. And so anyways, it's just like the whole thing about shoes is like interesting, man, because if you don't have it, if you're grounded, like I don't think there's many things that have the benefits like grounding do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then,
I mean, they sell grounding mats and grounding sheets and grounding this and grounding that. And it's like, dude, just go barefoot outside for a little while. It's fine. It's easy and free.
I've never tried the grounding sheets like for your bed or whatever.
I haven't either. They're expensive, and I'm like, I'll just go barefoot. I'm fine.
I mean, they are, but they seem a little promising. But I don't know, man. I'm like you. You know, you can just go outside for 10 minutes for free.
Exactly.
Well, let me rephrase. If you have the luxury, a lot of people, man. So I live in a small town, and I want to move. I think at least I want to move to the city. But I'm thinking about that. I'm like, man, if everything is concrete, like there's no grass around, there's no trees around.
You're not going to be able to ground.
Yeah. I mean, because
and that's how anxiety and depression starts to happen, because you get so many people in the cities are so far disconnected from nature. Like the only nature they see is maybe a dandelion on the sidewalk, or the very cultivated trees that the city puts there, or a pigeon pooping in front of you. Like if that's your entire connection with nature, of course they don't care. They just are so disconnected from nature. And that's one of the reasons why so many people end up with anxiety and depression and all these other mental health issues. Because you notice how people feel better when they're in the forest after 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
I imagine sunlight has a lot to do with that too. Like
that is very true.
And I would say maybe even lack of sunlight, because you got to think like somewhere like New York City, man. There's like all these cars around. Have you ever seen like a picture of like the skyline where it's like really like hazy and blurry?
Yeah. And did you see the same picture from when COVID was happening and like the skies were clear?
Well, that's what I was going to say.
There was no traffic on the freaking road.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way. Like if it's okay, so. And I don't know much, enough about the climate change, I guess argument is basically what it is. I don't know enough about that to comment on whether or not it's right or wrong. But if it's true that we have vehicles and they block the atmosphere, they block things from, the sunlight from entering the atmosphere. If it's in a very dense area, like a city like that, you can't tell me that all that UV light comes to the surface like it's supposed to. You know what I mean? Even if you go out
as much as it's supposed to, that's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, if it's like hazy like that, and you can at least like if you still see the sun, that's not the same as getting all that UV light, like in your eyes and stuff like that, like you're supposed to.
Yeah, no, it's the same thing. Like when the wildfires in Canada. I remember if you remember that from last year, that like half of Canada was on fire and the smoke was filtering down into the United States. There were parts of the United States, like I would go hiking here in Connecticut, and I'd be like, dang, it looks really foggy. What the heck? And it was the smoke being blown south from all those fires. So it definitely does, refract the light differently. It doesn't, you're not getting quite the same quality of vitamin D. But then again, there are millions of people out there that have no idea that they even need that much vitamin D. They're like, I feel great when it's a sunny day. And that's the only freaking connection that their mind makes. It's like, hello, it's because you're getting enough vitamin D. And you can supplement with vitamin D, but nothing is the same as actually being out in the sun and and having your body make it,
Do you know who Andrew Huberman is? Dr. Andrew Huberman?
No.
Oh, wow. I can't, man.
I'm sorry.
So he's he's a neuroscientist, but his podcast is basically like health and wellness. He talks about like, all this kind of stuff we're talking about. He does a little bit with supplements. He doesn't get too much into that kind of stuff and herbs and stuff. But he was, let me see, where was I going with this? You were talking about what did you just say? I'm sorry. we were talking about the clouds. It threw me off because vitamin D. That's right. Yeah. So he was talking about that. He was talking about like getting it from the sunlight, the things that you can eat and stuff like that. And I think you're right. I don't think enough people realize that most people are deficient in vitamin D.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
It's crazy because, and I don't want to, maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but we spend a lot of money on supplements and vitamins and stuff. And it's like two of the main things that we need are free, above us and below us. We have the sun and we have the ground.
Yep.
And I think that could solve a lot of what we of things we experience. And one thing, going back to Huberman for a minute, he was talking about how people like in the wintertime, at least here in the US, I know the winter's different in different parts of the world, but in the US here in the winter months, people get more sickness, more colds and stuff. And
it's vitamin D. It's a vitamin D deficiency.
Exactly.
Mostly,
because like
that and fresh air, but
Yeah, but and so you said it's what, 57 where you're at right now?
Like 57 degrees? It is 57, but this is very weird. Like it was 30 yesterday.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
this is
So
an extreme heat wave because it's raining right now. Tomorrow is going to be 40. So
right.
it's
So but
winter in Connecticut. Yeah.
so you have to think, all right, so it's cold in the winter. People typically are bundled up. They have, almost all their skin is covered basically, except their face
Yep.
maybe. And so like how much vitamin D are you not getting because you're bundled up? You know what I mean? So it's like
It's also the angle of the earth to the sun. I actually talk about that in my book. There's a whole section about that in my book about why you
really?
need the vitamin D and how you get the vitamin D. Yeah. Because
Okay.
if the earth is at, the earth has to be at least at a 45-degree angle to the sun in order for the UV rays to get through the atmosphere and your body to be able to make enough vitamin D.
Right.
Like in the wintertime, you can, like if you want to stand out there buck naked in the snow, good on you, but you're going to have to stand out there buck naked in the snow for like 2 hours in order to try to absorb enough. Whereas in the summer months, which is basically where I am from about, early April through mid-October, that's when you can go outside 20 minutes and you're good. Darker skinned people, the darker your skin is, the longer exposure you need to the sunlight in order to actually get enough vitamin D created in your body. Because it's basically like a chemical reaction. It's not like the sunlight isn't the vitamin D.
Right.
The sunlight hitting your skin causes a reaction in your body to create the vitamin D, and like that's what happens. So that's why white people need less time, because we're like, hey, we need sun, and nobody's getting it. So there are some natural sources of vitamin D besides the sun, but you're right. You're absolutely right. One of the biggest reasons people get sick in the wintertime is a lack of vitamin D. And even in the summertime, there's a lot of people working office jobs and stuff. They don't get outside enough. Or I'll talk to somebody will come to me for a consultation, be like, oh, I need this and this and this. And I'm like, you are absolutely vitamin D deficient. How often can you get out in the sun? And they'll say, well, I can't, I have to work my job. And I say, okay, well, how often can you eat mushrooms? Oh, I don't like mushrooms. And I'm like, are you like willfully just being vitamin D deficient? Come on, do something for yourself here. Come on.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I mean, it's crazy though, man, because you can see this in I think you could see this in different cultures in different parts of the world, like sunlight exposure. I don't have any statistics on this, but I would love to know like the I guess the rate of COVID like per location in the world as it relates to like sunlight exposure. You know what I mean? Or just
it's not
even
just sunlight for COVID, but yeah.
Well, I mean,
I have a whole theory on that one.
Well, COVID might be a bad example, but just like the common flu or the cold, something like that, as like relevant to sunlight exposure. Because I've known people, I've had people from this podcast literally from different parts of the world. So I don't want to offend anybody, but I've had people visit other countries, and they'll and I've had this experience too with the limited people I've had from this country that I've met, and they'll say that it just seems like the entire place is like just sort of melancholy, like gloomy type, and it's always cloudy. And I'm like, dude, well, that's why like there's no like it's depressing because they don't have any sunlight over there,
Yeah. Well,
and
like in Washington State, everybody's like, oh, it's raining all the time. I actually lived in not in Seattle, but right near Seattle for about 4 years. And the funny thing is, when I was there, I was like, oh, it's going to be rainy. It's going to be gray. It's going to be awful, blah, 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 blah. And when I lived there for 4 years, and it was actually sunny way more often than not. I mean, it rained, but it wasn't nearly as bad as they portray it in like the movies and stuff. Oh, well, it is right now. I think everything's flooded right now. There's a natural disaster going on right now. But while I was there, this is 15 years ago, I was living there. It's you would think that people would be, and some people do get more depressed. There's actually a really interesting thing about the whole Seattle versus New England. Those are the two places I've lived the longest. And in the Washington area, a lot of people get multiple sclerosis. And in the New England area, a lot of people get thyroid cancer. I don't know if that's ever something you've heard before, but like I found this out by living in those two places. There's like a regional thing. The MS diagnosis, they think it has something to do with the lack of sunlight, the lower amounts of sunlight people are getting. It's also a gut health issue. There's now that I understand more about autoimmune diseases, it's definitely got to do with leaky gut. But out here, I had, you probably can't even see, I have a little scar right here. I had to have my thyroid removed 4 years ago because I had thyroid cancer. And I had no idea about any of this. But when I finally met with an endocrinologist about it, I said, what is the deal with it? Like, I've been healthy my whole life, for most of my whole life anyway. And she said, there is a statistically huge amount of people in the New England area that get thyroid cancer specifically. And so we were discussing that for a while, and we think it's something to do with the environment. It's got to be, all I can think is because I'm like right in where the seat of the Industrial Revolution was in the 1800s. I don't know if you know anything about, like, I'm grateful that the EPA exists, honestly, right now, because I know some people that dumped a lot of crap people were dumping chemicals in the water, in the ground. There are huge swaths out here where I live, where there's old mills that are still standing. There's actually one like 2 miles from my house. There's a giant mill that used to create needles, little tiny needles. It's made of what was it? There's a specific chemical or mineral that they made these needles with, and they literally can't knock that mill down. Nobody can remediate the soil because of how much the huge quantities of chemicals that are in the soil around that area from dumping. Jeez. Because they didn't care back then. They had no idea what they were doing, and they didn't care. And there's people, I see people occasionally fishing out of the river down here, and I'm like, dude, you couldn't pay me to eat a fish out of that river. I know what they dumped in that river. Like, no way. So, well, and I mean, it's better now, obviously, but you're dumping stuff like that for 100 years. It's obviously going to affect the environment.
Yeah. That's actually a good point, man. Cause I brought this up before. You talk about these like mills and stuff, these old like mills. I've known a lot of people who worked in those places for a long time and ended up having some sort of long-term chronic, like,
cancer or
something like cancer. Alzheimer's was a big one. And like, I'm like, dude, you can't tell me if there was an experiment or something were to happen, like everybody started smoking cigarettes and all of a sudden people start getting health issues. Well, it might be the cigarette. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, so like
right. Correlation sometimes does equal causation.
That's what I'm saying. But it seems like nobody is concerned about this. Like, you know what I mean? Like nobody asks these kind of questions. And I don't want to say what I would do if I was in a situation, because it's, when you're in a situation, it's a lot different. But I'm just saying, like, you have to at some point ask these questions, man. And I don't know what the solution is. I don't know if you tear the place down, because if you tear the place down, then the asbestos and everything else goes into the environment.
Well, it gets right back into the environment. That's the problem. That's there's always, like, every couple of years, I know in the town I live in, there's like a town meeting, and they all say, what are we going to do about that mill? It's an eyesore. It's falling apart. It's this, it's that. And the town is like, it's going to cost like $20 million just to tear that thing down and remediate the soil. And they're like, nobody wants to do it. Nobody, no private builder wants to take that on, because there's nothing you can do with it. It is just so poisoned of an area that there's no way to even like get it back. It's just going to sit there until it falls apart,
Yeah, what's crazy, man, is I went to public school, and I remember one time, I didn't think much about this as a kid, but I remember one time somebody brought up like asbestos in the school, like in the ceilings or whatever, and then I became an adult and I started having these conversations. I was like, dude, we were there like every day. You know what I mean? In our developmental years, every day at that place. Like, and who knows what, I don't know if they ever replaced it. And if they did, like you said, it's all over the place now.
Well, asbestos is not quite as bad as, it depends on like what was going on, because what they did is they used the asbestos like in the pipes and stuff, but they would cover it. So like, unless they were going in and cutting into those pipes, it wouldn't affect you. Like, it can still exist. There are old houses now where the ceiling has asbestos in the ceiling, but as long as you don't like try to cut into it and put something in your ceiling and release it into the air, it's okay. You're not going to get it just by like touching the ceiling or touching the pipe, because it's coated with this outside layer. That's usually how it works. And that's why when they do the asbestos removal, they have to do the full body hazmat suit and everything, because they're cutting into it to remove it. All those particles are going into the air and into your lungs, and then you get lung cancer and die. And it's like, that's when asbestos is a problem. And of course it's a problem. That's why they don't use it anymore. But I'm just saying,
that makes me feel better.
Yeah, for you as a kid, unless they were sitting there sawing into the asbestos ceiling right in front of you, you're probably fine.
Okay. So I wanted to ask you, because we're kind of like diving head first into this thing, which is fine, by the way. It's great. It's a great conversation. But like, so what was there something that got you into all this, like that got you down this whole road of the herbs and the? All the stuff we're talking about?
Well, so I started foraging when like I told you, I lived out near Seattle.
Mhm.
I moved out to Washington State, and in 2006, like early 2006. And I was poor. I had a really crappy little 1 bedroom apartment that, like, I was glad I had it. And there's, young kids now that can't even afford that. But, um, I was basically a poor person living in this crappy apartment, working my job, and I noticed a lot of like blackberries growing along the side of the road, and I'm like, hey, free food, and nobody was picking them, nobody was doing anything. I'm like, I'm gonna go out and get the free food. So I got a big bowl from my kitchen and went out and I picked a crap load of blackberries, and I went back and I taught myself how to make blackberry jam, and I made pies and all kinds of stuff because they were everywhere. Now I know it's actually, there's like a blackberry festival in that area because
Oh,
they're
wow.
of that invasive blackberry that's absolutely everywhere. I was not the only crazy one. I was just the only crazy one on my road. Um,
Right.
getting them all there, but it's an invasive variety of blackberry, and lots of people pick them and do whatever they want. And I started getting into foraging, so back in 2006, and I would see, like, the easiest way to start getting into foraging for literally anybody is fruit, because a blackberry is going to look like a blackberry. Like, if you see something growing on the side of the road and it looks like a blackberry, it's a freaking blackberry. There is nothing else that looks like that. It's a
Right.
blackberry. You can eat it. Just like an apple is going to look like an apple. Sometimes they've got rotten spots in them or holes or bugs or whatever, but it still looks like an apple. You can forage wild apples. So that sort of thing, I got really into that. And then I had kids, and so when my daughter was born in 2009, I don't know if you've got any kids, or if you know anybody that's listening that has kids. When you have a baby, there is nothing safe to give to a baby. Like, if your baby gets sick, there's nothing. You cannot give anything to a baby. You could take them to the hospital. They're going to say, good luck, basically, because there's no medications. There's no, all, she ended up with colic at 2 weeks old, which meant she was screaming her head off. I had no idea. I was a new mother. I didn't know what the heck was going on. I had this little herb book that somebody had given me about, children and herbs. And I looked it up and I was like, you know what? I'm going to try chamomile. I'll give her some chamomile tea, because you could give that to an infant, a small amount of chamomile tea. And it helped. It helped calm her down. So I was like, hell yeah, this is awesome. I started doing it a little bit here, a little bit there. If she had a stomach trouble, I'd give her some like fennel seed, things like that. And like, this is working. Holy crap, the herbs work. And that was my real, like, when I was a kid, my stepmother was into homeopathy, but that was not the same. Like, herbalism is, I don't know if you know the difference. I can explain the difference if you don't know the difference between
Yeah, sure.
homeopathy and herbalism. Homeopathy is like the ghost of herbalism. It's basically, so homeopathy, and a lot of people say it's a crock of crap, but I'm not going to say that, because I've had homeopathic remedies that worked. But as an herbalist now, I will take the plant itself, that I grew, and I turn that into medicine. I turn it into like an oil or a tincture or a tea or something. I'm taking that plant into my body. When you're making a homeopathic medicine, whatever you want to call it, you're basically taking an extract of that plant and putting tiny little drops of it into sugar pills, and then you take the sugar pills into your body. So you're getting like a micro dose of the
Hmm.
plant itself. And it makes it sound weird to say this. Like, I guess I like to OD on plants. I don't know. But like, the larger doses work amazingly well for me
Hmm.
because it's the actual plant. Whereas the homeopathy, I honestly don't even understand how it works. I just know that that's how they make those remedies. And sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. It's A lot of people call it a pseudoscience, but a lot of people are really, gung ho into the homeopathic medicine. So, and I've had, like, there's one little homeopathic pill thing that helps with bee stings, and it works. I don't know how the hell it works, but it works. So I can't knock it completely. All I can say is I would much prefer herbalism, because I'm the kind of I'm a very tactile person. I want to take the plant. I want to do something with that plant itself.
Hmm.
Whether I'm going to talk with the plant and communicate with the plant, I'm going to cut it up, I'm going to make a tincture, I'm going to cut it up and make a tea, whatever I'm going to do, I want that plant to go into my body, because I feel like that's a direct connection with the plant itself, the earth, the spirit of the plant, the energy of the plant. You're you know, you're exchanging energy, you're exchanging everything with this plant, with this other living being, rather than just like the capsule with the extract, with like, that's why I said it's like the ghost of herbalism.
Right. So
I forgot what the hell I was saying before that. I'm sorry.
no, I was just asking you what, like, how you got into all this. But
Yeah.
no, dude, that's so crazy because, I mean, I don't know anything. So I would assume that the extracts is the way that it's digested versus, like, if it's an extract, it can probably be, or at least the science, the cell behind it is probably like can be a smaller amount because it is an extract versus,
Yeah, you're
like,
extracting the phytochemicals from the plant.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
the same as like a lot of people ask me like, well, what's the difference? Why do I have to take this extract and why can't I
mhm,
just eat the plant? You can eat the plant, but when you extract the phytochemicals from that plant into the menstruum, which is what, just say tincture. A tincture is made with alcohol.
mhm,
All tinctures are made with alcohol. The word tincture means to extract plant material or mushroom material into alcohol. Everybody that's saying, "Oh, I made a vinegar tincture," it's like, no, that's not a vinegar tincture. That's an infused vinegar. I made a glycerite tincture. No, you made a glycerite. A tincture, the word tincture means alcohol. That's an herbalist rant right there. Maybe there's like 2 people that are listening that'll give a shit, but a tincture is made with alcohol. When you extract that plant into the tincture, and that's an extraction. Okay. When you eat the plant itself, you're dealing with the physical plant material. So you're getting all the phytochemicals, but you're also getting the fiber from the plant and the actual like physical parts of the plant. And when you just eat it, it tends to work more like a food. So you tend to end up needing more of that plant to get any kind of a medicinal reaction in your body. Whereas when you extract it as a tea, as a tincture, as an oil, whatever it is, you're just extracting the medicinal parts instead of like all of everything together. There are some herbal practitioners that do like the whole plant, like spagyrics. I don't know if you've ever heard any of that, where you extract the plant and then you take the plant material and you burn it down and you combine it all. It's alchemy. It's stuff that I don't understand, honest to God. I understand the plant itself, but you can experience this yourself by, if you ever make a tincture or buy a tincture of something. I think, oh my God, I have red clover tincture sitting right here. So there's a big difference between me taking red clover tincture versus eating a handful of wild red clovers. Red clover, if you've never eaten any wild food, red clover's tasty, by the way. As a flower, as far as a flower goes, it's actually, it's really high in nutrition and it's very good for you. Like vitamins A, C, K, manganese, all kinds of good stuff growing in red clover. And it's just like in a field, with the cows. Most people don't care. It's delicious and it's very good for you. I eat it in salads. I just eat it straight as a fun snack. But when you extract it, you're pulling out the red clover tincture can help your lymphatic system. It can help. It's got estrogens, like phytoestrogens in it, so it can actually balance your estrogen levels in your body. This is especially important for women, especially going through perimenopause or menopause, to help deal with estrogen imbalances. But it works on your lymphatic system, so all that gunk in your lymphatic system. And again, it's like when you eat it, put some in a salad, you get the nutrition. But you'd have to eat like a massive, like 6 cups of it to get that estrogen balancing effect or the lymphatic effect. You know what I'm saying? Does that make
right.
sense?
Yeah, no, I got you. I mean, so I'm like on the very, I guess, elementary level of understanding of this. I thought I knew a little bit about herbs until I was talking to you last time, and I was like, dude, I don't know shit. But so I'm trying to
Doing
like,
this for a while. It's all right.
well, yeah, no, I see that. But like, I mean, like I told you that my understanding of herbs would be like, I don't even know if ginger is considered an herb or not.
Ginger's
But
an
like,
herb, yeah, absolutely.
but maybe like ginger, ashwagandha, which I think is more of a supplement these days than it is an herb because they put it into a
Ashwagandha
pill.
is
And
an herb.
well, I've
It's a
never seen
plant.
anybody like, I've never seen, like, you can go to most stores, you could see like a ginger, like I guess the root or
Yeah,
whatever, the ginger, but I've
yeah.
never seen an
Ashwagandha's a root
ashwagandha.
too.
I've never seen an ashwagandha root just for sale at a supermarket. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, they don't have them at the supermarket. They have them at specialty herb stores, and I told you I'm not a fan of ashwagandha anyway. But that's just me personally. And
yeah,
ashwagandha's in like damn near everything right now,
yeah.
supplement wise. So It's not easy for me to not be a fan of ashwagandha, but it is what it is. Oh, I meant to tell you when we met earlier, I don't remember if you know the name, if you remember the name, you asked me about a specific supplement. You said, what do you think about this? It was some workout supplement that I think like bulks. It wasn't creatine. It was something like that. But you said, ask me about it. And I said, I don't know. Let me look it up. And I looked it up, and it was all kinds of supplements of this one thing that you were talking about. And then I looked up, like, where does it come from?
Oh,
It's just
Alpha GPC. It's like
that,
yeah,
yeah. I looked it
yeah.
up because I said I'd never heard of this before. So I looked it up, and you know what it's from? Meat. All you got to do is eat meat. You don't need this freaking supplement, dude. Just eat meat.
Yeah, most of these things are from meat. I mean,
Yes.
I don't think
many things. People are not eating enough meat, or they're not eating. One of the things I'm going to advertise myself again. One of the things I talk about in my book is how people should be eating liver. People should be eating, not every single day, but you should be eating beef liver at least once a week. Your grandparents that ate liver and onions once a week knew what the hell they were doing. They did that for a reason, even if they didn't remember the reason. It's so many people need to be doing this, and like. There's a million different supplements online. I see all these mineral supplements, and it's like, dude, you can spend $70 a month on this supplement if you want to, but it's like $3 for a piece of beef liver.
Yeah.
Sorry, just deal with the liver. And they make liver supplements now too, but there's actually a difference. Because I have a jar of those. I tried them. I'm like, oh, just in case. I don't mind the taste of beef liver. I used to not like it, but I will tell you this, your body starts to crave that flavor when it needs it. Like if your body really needs what's in a certain food, your body's going to want it. Your body's going to eat that and say, oh, this tastes really good. I like this. I want more of this. And that's what happened when, I started eating liver again. But you can eat, it's easy to eat a piece of liver and onions, saute it in butter. It's awesome. Whereas the capsules, you have to take at least 6 of them just to equal even one. Like I keep saying the size of your palm of your hand. Right. That much. And I took 6, maybe 8 of them, and I still wasn't getting the same effect in my body as just a piece of liver. Plus they can make you nauseated if you take too much. So.
Yeah, I mean, so most of those supplements, man, protein included, like all this stuff is found in, like, I think red meat is very high in creatine.
You literally just have to eat meat. I mean, and I'm not saying go carnivore, like just add meat to your diet, eat meat, eat vegetables. It's not that friggin' hard. There are a few things. There are a few things that, like magnesium, 100%. I recommend everybody supplement with magnesium. There's certain types of magnesium that are better than others, but magnesium is just so depleted in the soil, especially here in the United States, that it's definitely something that I would suggest everybody supplement in some way, shape, or form. But most stuff you can just get from food.
But I mean, it probably wouldn't be that way if our food wasn't so highly processed as it is. Because
no, it's actually in the soil, believe it or not. With
magnesium, so the deficiencies come from the soil?
Magnesium and copper are deficient in the soil because of the way we've been farming for the last 85
Oh, yeah, I've
years.
heard about that. Yeah. There's only so much the soil can do.
There's only so much, and it's just gone from all the farmland, because most of the food comes from these same It's so much better for you if, like, wherever you are, if you can just have a little garden for yourself, little 10 by 20 garden, if you can manage it, God forbid, that would feed you, and you would be, you're able to have control over what you're putting into the soil. That's one of the things I teach people with foraging.
I just think about, like, back over the course of human evolution in these, like the 14th, 15th, 16th century, like these warriors, you know what I mean? Being out on a battlefield. Like, it's not like they were out there mixing protein shakes, you know what I mean? Like popping multivitamins.
Exactly. No.
Yeah.
No.
I mean,
there were things that they had, but like most of them just ate either meat or, there's actually a study I saw recently on that. Where was it? I think it was Mongolia, the China versus Mongolia. There was something to do with, what they were feeding their soldiers, and the Mongolian soldiers were eating mostly, like animal products and dairy products. And the Chinese soldiers were eating mostly like rice and barley products. And the Mongolian soldiers were like heavy duty in fantastic shape. They had the energy to fight all day. And the Chinese soldiers were just like, their health was not very good. It kept going downhill because they were just surviving on the grains. And I'm not saying just go eat only meat and dairy. That's not, every culture is different, yada, yada. But, and you don't want to just, like, people ask me all the time, oh, what do you think about carnivore? And I say, if you want to do the carnivore diet for like a month or two to see what it does for your body, that's great. But the carnivore diet is not, and never has been, meant to be a long-term thing. Like, people that are doing carnivore for years and years, I'm like, I don't know how the hell you're surviving. Your body needs plants.
Well, I think and what I've heard about it, I've never done it. I want to try it. I look at that thing and I'm like, dude, this would get really expensive to eat only only this, you know what I mean? But I would like to try it, but it's like people say you have to sort of introduce it slowly. Like anything with your diet has to be introduced slowly, or at least it probably should be.
Well, it depends. It depends on how you're doing it and what the reasons for it are. Because if you're trying to do like a detoxification type thing, like I helped somebody recently do, they went to a histamine diet, a low histamine diet. So, and this guy, he was eating very, very healthy, what I would consider very, very healthy, but his gut microbiome was still off. Like, it was still way off. He was getting GERD, like he was getting reflux symptoms all the time. And I'm like, what is it? And it turned out that first we started by, I had him stop eating tomatoes and oranges because those are high acid foods, and just stopping those two foods helped a lot. Yep. But we took the next step. We said, all right, let's put you on a low histamine diet just for a couple of months and see how this works, which is mostly meat. There's like, I don't know, like 20 vegetables on the low histamine diet that you're allowed to eat. Yeah. But no grains. It's just like the vegetables, a couple of fruits that you can have, but the fruits should be cooked because you're trying to make it easy for your body to digest all this stuff. So cooked meats, eggs, a couple of cooked fruits, and some cooked vegetable. Everything should be cooked. And broth, beef broth or chicken broth, any of that kind of stuff. So he's still in that phase. And it changed it. Like, all his reflux stuff has basically gone away. It's helping a lot, but it's not a full time, like forever. It's 2 months, maybe 3 months of this. And then we start reintroducing foods back and see what happens. And in whatever case, if you find that you're having a horrible symptom of some kind, or some symptom that you don't want is happening in your body all the time, and you stop eating this one food for a couple of weeks, and holy crap, all your symptoms are gone, just stay away from that freaking food. That's all that's all you have to do. That's why I'm like, that when people are like, oh, but I don't want to give up cheese. And I'm like, listen, is cheese worth your entire freaking life? I love cheese. Don't get me wrong, but I can't have most kinds of, like, I can have goat cheese now, but I had to stop eating all cheese because of lactose intolerance. And it's like, It's not worth it. It's not worth living in the bathroom for your entire life just to have a few minutes of, oh, this tastes really good. It's priorities, basically.
Dude, anytime I feel bad, diet is one of the first things that I look at, like what I've eaten over the last couple of days or whatever it is, my sleep, so that's what I look at. But you've been talking about, you've mentioned a couple of times, like gut health. And I don't think like that's such an underrated thing, man, that people don't really know about, like how, like,
it's the number one most important thing you can pay attention to in your body. Number one thing.
There's a connection, and I can't explain it scientifically. Huberman, I've heard him explain it, but there's a connection between the gut health and your immune system, like gut health and your skin health. Do you know what AG1 is? The supplement AG1.
Is that the one you were asking me about earlier?
No, that was alpha GP. I don't really take alpha GPC like that. That's really mainly to help you focus. It increases acetylcholine in the brain. But AG1 is basically a mix of probiotics, prebiotics. It's actually got a lot of mushrooms on there. I'd like to get your opinion on some of that stuff.
One now. Yeah, you'll have to show it to me. It's one of those, like, a lot of people are, oh, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? I got to see the label before I know anything. I know I can't tell you if it's crap unless I see the label. But yeah, no, I get it. That's one of the things I talk about when I'm going live and talking with people. I'm talking about your gut health. But so your gut health is also affected. It's affected by what you eat, and it's affected by your stress levels. So
I use Perplexity as the AI that I use. It's really good for research. I'm going to show you what it says about these ingredients for AG1, and if you have any opinions on these, I'd like to know what you think. So the AG1, it's got the vitamins. Can you see
Athletic
this?
greens. Yeah, I can see it.
Okay.
What
Now
is it,
I don't
like
know
an
what
AI
this.
thing?
What is that? Spirulina.
Spirulina's good. That's good for
Okay.
you.
Chlorella.
It's definitely, yeah, I
Wheatgrass.
know what that is. It's definitely not gluten free. That's for sure.
Um. Okay, so here we go. Mushrooms, adaptogens, herbs, ashwagandha. I
Why?
can't even pronounce some of this
Why?
stuff.
Why? Why do they have to put so much shit in one thing?
I don't really know what half of this stuff is. Well, there's the dandelion. I wonder if that's an
Ugh.
extract. It's got to be, right?
Includes ingredients like. That doesn't mean. No, give me the label. Do you have the label? I
Yeah,
need
hang
the
on
label.
just a
This is bullshit. This is AI bullshit. No,
hang
I
on,
want
hang
the
on, hang on
label.
just a second. Hang on.
So many people go for adaptogens this, adaptogens that, and adaptogens are so overused. You probably don't need an adaptogen.
Yeah, I got a whole box of this stuff, man. Let's see.
Okay, AG1 Daily Foundation Nutrition. Hang on.
AG1.
I'm Googling it. AG1 review. Let's see. All right. Let me look at this label. Come on. Where's the freaking. Just show me.
I'm trying to look at the. So it says mushroom powder. Is that reishi mushroom powder?
That's weird.
Rosemary leaf, a 4-to-1
says
ratio extract.
Free of major allergens, free of gluten, dairy. It looked like it had gluten in it. What the hell? Where's the damn picture? I want to see a picture. I want to see a picture of the freaking label itself. This website, man.
Here,
Oh, there it is. There it is. Okay. There's a lot of shit in this. You know, you could just eat real food and you'd get the same. This is why do people do this? Like, just eat.
I take this every day, though.
Oh my god.
I'm trying to see an actual like picture
Biotin's
of the
bullshit. Pantothenic acid. Calcium
so I have pictures. I
citrate,
can't zoom
calcium
in.
carbonate, phosphorus, magnesium. Well, at least it's magnesium glycinate. It's only 25 milligram. What? There's only 25. Dude, no, you need magnesium for a man. A grown man needs at least 500 milligrams of magnesium a day. So that's kind of useless. I guess that's okay. Alkaline nutrient dense raw superfood complex. Let's do this. All the marketing bullshit. Why is there lecithin in it? It doesn't even say what kind of lecithin. It doesn't say if it's soy lecithin. It doesn't say if it's sunflower lecithin.
Hang on, what is that? Is that a mushroom or what is that?
No, lecithin is an emulsifier basically.
So
it's something that they put in there to make it all look like one color, where you could just freaking do actual food.
I'm trying to see
organic
what it says.
Wheatgrass juice powder. Organic wheatgrass juice powder? Why didn't you just put wheatgrass in there? Oh my god, this freaking marketing bullshit. This is a lot. So
yeah, there's a lot of stuff in here.
There's a lot. I will say, like, if you weren't eating, if you were not eating food, this would be okay. What's alkaline? Oh, pea protein. Ugh, I hate pea protein. Citrus bioflavonoids extra artichoke leaf. Okay. Rhodiola. I don't know if you know anything about, have you ever like researched all these adaptogens before you started putting them in your body?
I researched the supplement as a whole. Yeah. So
rhodiola is only supposed to be taken for a maximum of 6 months.
Well, yeah.
How long have you been on this? There's a Luthro. Oh shit, there's a Luthro in it too? Oh my god.
It says
don't start taking herbs unless you freaking talk to an herbalist. Oh my god.
Yeah, it says a 15-to-1 extract on the rhodiola.
Wait.
So is that like a low amount?
That's a lot.
Yeah, so it says 15-to-1 extract.
That means 15 parts rhodiola to 1 part alcohol when you're extracting it. That's a pretty friggin' strong extraction.
It says dandelion whole herb 4-1 extract.
What? Why do we need an extract of any of this? Why don't you just eat the dandelions? This is ridiculous.
I mean, I don't know, but I'll tell you this. Like, I don't know, but I will say this: taking this stuff, man, is like I feel what would
Of course
I
it
guess
does, because what it does.
healthier, more energy. I mean, I take it every day.
Now, do you want me to explain what the adaptogens are in that are doing to you right now?
Sure, yeah,
So
maybe, I don't know.
because a lot of people, say, oh my gosh, I don't have enough energy, I want more energy, I want more stamina, blah 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 blah, so they go for adaptogens, right? An adaptogenic herb. They hear this word, oh, it's an adaptogen, that gives me more energy, and that's all you fucking know about it. That's not what they do. Adaptogens. Here, all right, do I have time to give you a little history lesson on adaptogens?
Yeah, sure.
So adaptogens are herbs that were, for anybody that cares to look more into this, please find David Winston. He wrote the book on adaptogens. Literally, he's awesome. He's an herbalist. But back during World War II, Russia, the Russian army basically was trying to find ways to get their soldiers to have more stamina, to last longer in battle. And they didn't want to have to keep giving them, what is it? Is it methamphetamine? Oh, no, amphetamines. Sorry, not just meth. Amphetamines, which are really bad. You should not be having amphetamines all the time. It's really bad for your body. Okay. So they were looking for alternatives to giving their soldiers amphetamines so that they didn't like crash out and die. And they started looking into these Chinese herbs, and there's a lot more studies on them now, but at the time they were basically taking these herbs one at a time. And what they would do is, this is going to sound really horrible, so if there's anybody listening that does not want to hear about animal testing or abuse, you just turn it off right now. What they would do, this is 1940s, they would take a mouse, drop it in a bucket of water, watch it swim around, and time how long it took before the mouse gave up and died. Okay? And then they would take another mouse, give it one of these adaptogenic herbs, and drop it in a bucket and time it to see how long it swam around before it gave up and died. And over time, they tested all these different herbs, and the ones that they identified as adaptogens are the ones that allowed that mouse to swim for a little bit longer and longer and longer every time. You know, instead of swimming for an hour and dying, it would swim for an hour and 20 minutes or something like that, you know? And that's how they identified what these herbs would do. Now, different herbs do different things. Different adaptogenic herbs have slightly different effects on the body. They're not all just going to cause stress, but some of them, the definition of an adaptogenic herb is really ubiquitous anyway. It basically has to be something that can be taken as a food source without making you like go crazy, at least immediately. But to try to condense this down, the point I'm trying to make here is your adaptogens usually work on your adrenal glands. Okay, so your kidneys here, your adrenal gland is this little gland that sits on top of your kidneys. Okay, and a lot of people have heard the phrase adrenal fatigue because they think that, and that's a buzzword phrase. You don't always have adrenal fatigue. Okay, most of the time you've probably just got a vitamin or a mineral deficiency, or you're too stressed out for some reason, and there's other ways to deal with that. But the adaptogenic herbs, a lot of them anyway, not every single, but the majority of them, there's only like 12 of them. The majority of them, what they do, imagine that little adrenal gland is like a sponge, right? You're tired, you're exhausted all the time. You can't figure it out. And that sponge is getting really, really dry. But it's still got a tiny little bit of moisture left in it. You start taking this adaptogenic herb, and it takes that sponge and squeezes the last couple of drops out of it to give you, oh my gosh, I've got energy, instead of resolving the reason why the sponge was getting dry in the first place. Right. So you're stressing that out even more to push more and more energy out of yourself and out of your system instead of dealing with the cause of the problem and eventually after God knows how many, 6 months, a year of taking this, because I'll get to that in a second, you stress it out so much that you just crash. You just crash. And some herbs, again, some of the adaptogenic herbs are different than others. There are I think 2 or 3 of the adaptogenic herbs that are actually safe to take long term, but they're the ones that are not doing that squeezing your adrenal glands dry.
Yeah.
They're basically working on your system, your stress levels and things like that. There's certain medicinal mushrooms like reishi and chaga are safe to take long term, usually like a year or more. But again, that's something that they also don't tell you. Eleuthero should be taken. Like eleuthero was studied during this study in Russian study with the mice. Eleuthero was meant to be a week, 2 weeks max. Like this is for your soldiers to take right before they go into battle, so they last a couple days of battle and then they stop taking it. And nobody's done that. Like all they do is study it, like, oh, let's take this. This is working so great. And you just keep taking it and taking it and taking it. Rhodiola, maximum of 6 months. And then you're supposed to stop, or at very least give your body a break for a few months before you try any of it again. These things they're not exactly the same as a stimulant for your system, but they're doing something similar to that. And when people don't do the research, or they don't understand, and they just keep taking it for years and years and years, eventually you just get to the point where your system is so tapped out that you're relying on those adaptogens to survive. You stop taking your adaptogens and holy crap, your body just crashes. You have like no energy, you got nothing left. There's nothing left to give because you've sucked it all out. You never took care of the root cause of the problem, which is probably either a sleep deficiency, a vitamin deficiency, or a mineral deficiency, which is obviously exacerbated by stress and things like that.
Yeah. I mean, that makes a lot of sense, man, because that makes a lot of sense because ashwagandha, if I take it, I do cycle off of it. I don't take it long term. I mean, I did for a little bit there, and I realized you're not supposed to take it long term, so I stopped. But I don't know. I mean, I take AG1 like every day, and that's the reason I take it is not even really for the adaptogens. It's for like the prebiotics, probiotics. It's for the gut health, basically. I wanted something that I could take.
There's a different one. I recommend a specific. I spent like a year. One of the things that I tell people is my story of my gut health journey, and I spent a solid year trying different probiotics until I finally found one that actually worked. I spent hundreds of dollars on probiotics and prebiotics and all this other crap. And I finally found one that worked. So there's a couple that I know are really good that I usually recommend for people. But there's a company that I get my stuff from they do probiotics, they do prebiotics, they do postbiotics, they do gut fiber. It's just absolutely amazing. I love working with them.
So I want to ask you this because I know we got to close here in a little bit, but I want to ask you, so man, we went all over the place today, which is good, which is fine. But I think this is one of those things it would take us probably hours to dive into this stuff and really understand it the way that you do. And just for the sake of time, because I know that most of the people who listen to this podcast are not going to have the same understanding that you do. It's probably going to be somewhere around what I have, which is like
that's why I simplify things as best as I possibly can, and that's what I do. Yeah. In my book, this is written so somebody like you could understand it.
Right.
Because most herbalism books are written for people like me who already know all this shit. I wrote this book so that you and normal people can actually understand what the hell somebody like me is talking about.
Yeah. And I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you, if you had to is there a way to maybe say like 5 that you would, if somebody had to take maybe 5 like essential herbs, what do you think those would be? How would the normal person get those things in a healthy way? Or is there 5?
I mean, I don't want to say there's no herbs that are absolutely essential for absolutely everybody because everybody's body is different.
Right.
I can recommend 5 of my favorite herbs and how they might benefit you in general.
Okay.
Let's see. So stinging nettle is one of my all-time favorite herbs. You can get that just about anywhere. You can get that at health food stores. You can get it, dried in bags. You can make a tea, you can make a tincture. It's going to get into your body more like as like a nutrition type thing if you take it either as food or a tea. It's freaking delicious. If you've never had it, it probably grows near you. It's a weed. that a lot of people hate. They call it 7-minute itch in some places. It's stinging nettle, Urtica dioica, or there's a couple of different varieties of stinging nettle. It's basically, it's got these little stinging hairs on the outside of the stems and underneath the leaves that have formic acid in them, which is the same stuff that ants excrete when an ant bites you. But that's not why it's medicinal, because they tend to grow in areas where like really deep, thick leaf litter, or horse manure or something like that. They grow in places with a lot of nutrition in the soil, and they suck it all up, and all you got to do is pick those leaves and make a tea or make whatever, or eat them. I make pesto with it. It's friggin' phenomenal. It tastes good, and it is one of the most nutritious things on this planet that you can eat. Absolutely amazing.
Okay.
And plus it also, like if you take it as a tea or a tincture, it helps with your allergies. It helps reduce your allergy load. So that's definitely up there. A nutritious, like if you want nutrition type stuff, stinging nettle's one. Oat straw is another one, just like the same oats that you would buy like oats to eat. The straw, the stem part of that, the oats are the actual seed. So the stem part, if you can actually make a tea with that, and it's super duper nutritious as well. So that's a good one. Milky oats, which is again oats, like you would eat oatmeal, but it's at a specific stage of growth. So it's got these little seed heads on it, which turn into the oats. But before the oats are ready to harvest, like for food, they're like this greens, not quite their stage. And if you squeeze them, they kind of exude this milky sap, and that's milky oats. It's in that specific growth stage. But if you harvest them then and tincture that, make it into an alcoholic extract, and you could take that every single day. And that's like a fantastic thing for people who are dealing with stress, like heavy duty, high levels of stress all the time, because it helps your body manage that stress a lot better, and it helps calm you down. It's one of those things like you want to take it every single day.
Right.
So that's another one. I'm always a big proponent of medicinal mushrooms. The stuff that I wild forage myself here, for anybody that can see me right now, my earrings, these are turkey tails. This is Trinity's worth.
Okay.
I made these with mushrooms that I foraged.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So these are one of the most highly sought after medicinal mushrooms in the world, and they're very common. Okay. So, but only if you know what you're looking for. So I take turkey tail extract every day because it helps your body fight cancer. If you take it as a decoction, which is where you like just stick it in a pot and simmer it for a while, it can help normalize your gut bacteria. The beta glucans in there can again help your body boost your immune system, fight off potentially cancer, and help get your body. I don't know, just this. They're really awesome. It also normalizes your white blood cell count, so that's fantastic too.
Okay.
So that's reishi's a good one. Chaga's a good one. A lot of those medicinal mushrooms you can take, pretty long term, and mushrooms build up in your system over time. So I will say, if you ever want to take a mushroom supplement, please read the label, and you're looking for something that is made with the fruiting body. Do you understand that at all?
I don't know.
All right. So if you were to close your eyes and think of and picture a mushroom, the thing that you're picturing is called the fruiting body. The fruiting body is the mushroom that you would like pick. That's what you would eat, whatever it is.
Right.
The other part of a mushroom is the mycelium. The mycelium is basically like the roots. Okay. The roots that go down. So think of an apple tree, like the apples are the fruit, and then the roots go down. So a lot of people freak out. Oh, don't pick all of this. With mushrooms, you don't have to worry so much about the sustainability, because unless you're digging up the entire area that they're growing in, just picking a couple of mushrooms, you're not touching that fungi organism. Like, it's just putting these little flowers up. You're not going to hurt that any more than picking apples off a tree would hurt the tree. Do you get what I mean?
Right.
You're just picking the fruit. And that's what mushrooms are like. So the thing is, with the mushrooms, the mushroom fruiting body is going to be the strongest part of that medicine. It's coming up. It's put all of its energy into that thing. It's sucking up vitamin D, which another thing that I don't know if you know, but mushrooms absorb vitamin D the same way people do. We're more closely related to mushrooms than plants. Like,
wow. Okay.
We can be out in the sun and we make vitamin D. A mushroom goes out in the sun and a mushroom makes vitamin D. Same thing.
So just quick question, because I know mushrooms are technically like a fungus, like a fungi.
Yeah, fungi.
Like they're would it absorb things like plants do, like glyphosates and stuff like that, or is that not?
I mean, as far as I know, nobody's been spraying glyphosate near their mushrooms, but they probably would, at least in some level. If you were spraying it like where it was growing, like it would get into the ground, and the mycelium is going to
Yeah,
possibly suck some
I
of
just
that up.
didn't know
Now
if
there is
mushrooms
some.
absorb it the same
Well,
way that
yeah,
like plants
because
do.
have you heard of mycoremediation?
Mm-mm.
So there's I think plant remediation, there's phytoremediation and mycoremediation. Basically, all these areas that are like toxic waste dumps.
Mm-hmm.
There are certain mushrooms now that they're finding that you could plant these mushrooms in that area, and they will suck up all those toxins, and then you just basically incinerate the mushrooms, and the toxins are gone from that land.
Oh wow,
Same thing with
okay,
the plant. Yeah,
yeah.
they're finding mushrooms now that can ingest plastic and like
Oh,
degrade plastic. It's
interesting.
freaking
Okay,
awesome. Mushrooms are
yeah.
amazing. Like you once you
So
get into this, you start worshiping mushrooms as the gods they are. So
yeah. So the reason I was asking, one of the reasons I was asking, if somebody knows what to pick or I guess pull out of the ground, they want to be
you
conscious of
cut
the
them.
environment. Okay, they want
Yeah,
to be
you cut
conscious of the
mushrooms.
environment that the mushroom's growing in. Like be aware
Yes.
of
Oh
what's
yeah,
around it.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and a lot of these mushrooms, you don't urban forage mushrooms. you know, don't get it if it's growing out of somebody's camper van. Don't
Right.
pick it.
Yeah.
You know,
No.
I've
Yeah.
seen that happen before. With oyster mushrooms will be growing out of somebody's ceiling or something. It's like, how the hell did they even get there? Don't eat
Well,
those.
doesn't some type of mushroom grow on like mold, like black mold and stuff in like abandoned buildings and stuff? Some kind of.
Well, black
I
mold
wouldn't.
will grow on wood and thing. Black mold's very bad. That's
Yeah.
aspergillus.
Yeah.
That's a very, very bad thing. Yeah, but it's
But
not
I
the
mean,
same as going out in the
I've
woods and
just seen
foraging
like
mushrooms.
places that like an abandoned building or whatever, like a place that's like like almost consistently wet, and it'll have like mushrooms growing out of it. That's I mean, because that's basically what mushrooms are
Yeah,
is like a mold,
yeah.
right?
They well, no, they're not like mold. They're in the same kingdom as mold, but mushrooms break down plant material. Mushrooms grow in any kind of wood, and straw and other like biological material, and they break it
Mm-hmm.
down. That's what if you leave an apple in a bowl on your table for too
Right.
long, it gets moldy, right?
Right.
And that's all. That is a fungus breaking that down into edible, digestible parts for that fungus, and eventually
Mm.
disappears. It goes into the air. That's
That
just
makes sense.
that's how the earth works.
Yeah.
Fungi. That's why I said before fungi existed, I don't even know how anything happened because.
Well, that's like a continuation of the cycle of like everything this on the. So, real quick story. I was listening to something the other day, and it was talking about how like basically carbon, like so everything here is a carbon based life form, and
Yep.
basically how carbon is like there's a cycle of carbon. Like the plants absorb the carbon dioxide that we breathe in. We then either consume the plant or we consume something that has consumed the plant, like an animal, and so the carbon is in. It's like the carbon is a cycle basically.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I never really thought about that, but I was like, that was fascinating to me because like that does make a lot of sense. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so I was curious where like the mushrooms and stuff play into that because it's not really like a plant, but it is like a living thing. You know
It
what I
is
mean?
a
Like
living thing. Yes. For anybody that's listening, if you're into the woo woo side, I have absolutely communicated with mushrooms. I have had mushrooms talk to me before. They
dude,
don't
we
just
didn't even
sit there like, "Hey,
we didn't
how's
even
it
get
going,
a chance
Amelia?"
to talk
But they
about that.
definitely communicate. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about the communication with the plants and stuff. Well, I guess I will ask you this before we close. Before you like, so like I don't know if you've heard people talk about like if you communicate to water or if water
Yeah.
consumes
I
like positive
talk with my
messages or
water
whatever.
I talk into
Yeah.
my water all the time.
Yeah. So I think the theory is that if you communicate positively with it, it'll have more of a positive effect or whatever.
Yeah.
So is this true of like when you say plants, it's like salads and stuff like that? Or
Not really, because by the time you get it, it's dead.
Okay. Well, that's what I was going to ask. I just didn't want to like if you were doing that, I didn't want you to be like disappointed. But that's what
when it's alive, you can. That's one of the things that I usually do, and the whole concept of the honorable harvest is to ask permission before you harvest something wild. And there's a big discussion to be had about that because like, well, how do you farm then? Like, I'm not asking permission from my tomato plant every time I pick a tomato. I have an agreement with that tomato plant that I spent all that energy growing it and it's going to feed me. But
Okay.
out in the wild, I don't have an agreement with all those plants. Like, you have to build a relationship with these plants and
Mm.
communicate with them, which means you have to number one, know how to trust and understand your intuition. And you have to trust the fact that yes, the plant can answer you in some way, even if all you can get out of it is a yes or a no. That's really important, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So if I go out and I want to harvest a bunch of bark, I usually say, hey, is it okay if I harvest? And it's the same as when you talk to a person. Like, I wouldn't walk up to you and say, hey, Cody, can I have your shirt? Like, you've never seen me before in your entire life.
Right.
I just walk up, hey, I like your shirt. Can I have it? That's like a dick move. Why would you do that to somebody? You wouldn't do that to a
Yeah.
person. Don't do it to a tree. So like, you want, hey, how's it going? Oh, I love your shirt. That's a great shirt. Can I, would you mind if I have a little piece of your shirt? Because I think it's so great and I could use it for this, that, and that. Oh yeah, sure. You're a really nice person. You have a conversation with the plant, and talk to it. So it's a whole thing. Anyway, I don't want to get too far into that because we're running out of time. But
you're good. I do want to look into that though, man, because I mean, if you think about it, like a tree or a plant, it's absolutely a living thing. You know what I mean? It's like, just because it's not like I mean, we think about animals. I guess most people talk to their cats and their dogs, but we think about like other animals, like rabbits and stuff. Just because we can't communicate with them doesn't mean it's not a living thing. Just
because the tree doesn't have a mouth doesn't mean it can't speak to you.
Right. Yeah. So that's interesting.
Do it. Yeah.
I'm going to have to look into that. Before we do close, do you have a website or a social media, anything that you want to shout out?
Yes.
Here, a book?
Yep.
You said?
My website is nobsherbalist.com, because I am the No BS herbalist. You can find all my social media through there. I'm on Facebook. I'm No BS herbalist. On Instagram, I'm No BS herbalist. And then TikTok and YouTube are weird because I started my TikTok account like 4 years ago, when I had no intention of getting big on TikTok, and I'm kind of big on TikTok now. So my name was at the original Meal Chan. Meal is like, Chan is it's a nickname from me, but it's basically, I'm scared to change it. I'm scared to change my handle on TikTok because I'm like, dude, I got like 160,000 followers. If I change my handle, no one's gonna be able to find me. They're all gonna be confused. I don't want to do that. So, but that's why I said nobsherbalist.com. And you can find, links for everything. My blog is there. I've got a new blog article coming out tomorrow. You can look up my book, my Think Like an Herbalist book. This is also on Amazon, by the way. And everything you can communicate with me through there. Get to my online shop and consultations and all that stuff through that website.
All right, perfect. So one thing that I ask everybody, this kind of fits with the keeping the theme of wisdom. If you could share one of the most important lessons you've ever learned, and it can be from your personal life if you're comfortable sharing it, what you're doing now, any career that you've had, what do you think is one of the most valuable, most important lessons you've ever learned?
Oh gosh. I would say, this is obviously something I didn't prepare to answer because I didn't think to. No. Decide if you actually want help, and decide what you're willing to do to get it. Because a lot of people say, oh, I want to be healthy again. Or I wish I had this. I wish I had this much money. I wish I had this much time. I wish I had this much freedom. I wish I wasn't sick anymore.
Right.
Decide what you're willing to do to get that. Because that's going to make all the difference. The difference between people who get what they want and people who just keep searching the internet for answers or reading books and looking for the rest of their lives are the ones who decide, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to get to this goal. And they just keep doing it. And this comes back to people that I've worked with and myself in my own life. It's, how much pain are you in? How much, and that doesn't mean just physical pain. Like, how much pain is this thing, this is not having this causing you, that makes you willing to do whatever it takes to get what you want? So does that make sense?
Dude, that's really powerful. And I agree with that. I think that, I think that where we're at now, especially with like technology, especially with AI, man, like, listen, people are, people are using AI to make like the cat videos, and I understand it and everything, but like what it should be is something that you're using to learn and inform. And like, it's one of the best search engines you could ever have, I think. But I mean, I think that what I'm trying to say is I think we have the tools to inform ourselves, to learn, to grow, like whatever the thing is that you want for yourself. I think those things are out there. They're at least out there more than they probably have ever been.
Yeah,
I mean,
well, you've got an entire world of knowledge and information in this one little
exactly.
cell phone you've got everything you ever need to know in the entire universe or the entire world in your hand in this cell phone. What are you doing with it? Are you watching cat videos 24/7?
Right.
or are you doing something to help yourself get better? Train your brain, build a presence on social media, write a blog, whatever it is you're doing to improve your life, get yourself out there, or heal your problems, solve the problems that you have. Utilize the technology that you have. If you've got it, why not? You could still go to the library and look for books. Just make the decision to actually do the thing instead of just talking about it, worrying about it, or one of my favorite things, playing victim. Do you want to be a victim? Do you want to continue playing victim for your whole life? Or do you want to say, no, you know what? It's time to change. I don't give a shit what it takes. I'm going to do whatever it takes. I'm going to change. That's when you go out and you buy the book, or you look up the thing, or you start the website, or whatever it is you're trying to do. You take that next step, and that's going to make you the person that succeeds.
Yeah. What's crazy, man, is I think there's a big difference in somebody like wanting to help themselves and then somebody wanting you to help them. You know what I mean? I think there's like a big difference in that.
Well, what? If you find somebody that can help you, like I've definitely have hired people that can help me for other things. Like if you find the right person that can help you, get you started, absolutely.
Well, yeah, for sure. But I mean, like you mentioned, like the victim. I think sometimes like some of us, we just want to be. Button. Well, they want the what would be like the dopamine hit of saying what their problem is, and then somebody offering advice, but then them doing nothing with the advice. You know what I mean?
All right, let me tell you this. This is the thing that I say to people. Okay, I learned this from my mentor. Before I start talking with people, and you're going to start using this too. Okay, everybody that listens to this is going to start using this. Do you want me to tell you what you want to hear, or do you want me to tell you the truth? Most people get really upset when you don't tell them what they want to hear, because what they want to hear is that you've got the answer for this, that, and that. And if the truth is that there is no answer for this, that, and that, or the truth is that you have to do some work to get to there, they don't want to hear that. They want what they want to hear, which is usually an easy button of some kind, Yeah. There's a big difference.
Well, listen, it's been a great conversation. We'll have to jump on this next time and go down before then, I'm going to get to the stuff about the trees and the communication. Cause I got to research, I got to research that, man, before I go down that rabbit hole. Cause I don't even know much about herbs as much as I thought. So maybe I should have researched that a little bit more before this, but
go get my book. This'll teach you some stuff.
Yeah. I'll have to, man, because I don't know as much as I thought I did, but yeah, no, it's been great. It's been great talking to you. If you can hang out for just a second, I'll explain to you the upload process, and it looks like we're pretty good on the upload. But
thank you for having me.
No, yeah, for sure. It's been a good conversation. I do appreciate it. Hey guys, I really appreciate everybody tuning in today. If you found this content or this episode useful and intriguing, you can visit us on social media. This is Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Music, and Apple and Google Podcasts. Pure Wisdom Podcast on all social medias. You can interact with us, follow, like, and share there, and we will see you guys next time. This episode is brought to you by Excel Coaching Academy. Hey guys, I'm really excited to let you know that I started a mindset coaching business. So what I want to do with this business is I want to help entrepreneurs, business owners, salespeople, leaders, and fitness enthusiasts or athletes develop the right mindset to increase revenue, improve business or performance, and overcome the challenges needed to become the best version of themselves. You can get more information about this by emailing info@excelcoaching.academy.